my god, my freaking mouse.
A bomb has been located by op.
Unplug and replug it.
I love you, Boss J-Cog. Poor Twitch didn't know what hit her. She's probably gonna quit. Yep. One of the greatest features in Rainbow Six Siege is all the information that is given to you on your weapon. You're given a specific number of damage that your weapon does and how certain attachments affect both the damage of your weapon as well as that weapon's recoil pattern. And so we're given a lot of data concerning our weapons, and sometimes it can seem overwhelming, confusing when you have this much data thrown at you and you don't really know what's more important. And we're left to decide which weapons and which attachments are best for us and our playstyle. So when it comes to attachments, you just need to play around with it and find out what's most comfortable for you. Play around with them and find out what works best for you. I'm actually considering doing a video where I go over those attachments and which attachments are best for specific guns and specific players and their playstyles, but that isn't this video. And in this video, I'm here to talk about damage per second and fire rate, and which is more important in Rainbow Six Siege. And so here's a clip that actually got me inspired to do this video. Well, the AUG, it's better to have the SMG than the AUG.
The AUG is way better. Are you kidding me?
No, SMG. So where's that, bro? Higher fire rate. Higher fire rate, bro.
Nah, bro.
Yeah.
Higher DPS.
The bombs.
Fire rate.
Wait, where you at? Come here, you fuck. I'm gonna argue with you. Come here.
Who, me?
Come here.
Where you at?
Where you?
I'm right here. I'm right here.
Hey,
I'm right here. Hey.
hey, it's DPS over fire rate
It's
all
about
day.
fire
Damage per
rate.
second. Damage per
You tell me I can't get a headshot and all that? You tell me I can't headshot that?
No.
It's all about putting as many rounds downrange as possible.
Damage per second.
No, it's this in Call of Duty or Battlefield, yes. In a game where you need a headshot to get an instant kill, you want fire rate.
I have a feeling you're kind of right.
I am.
He's this slowly.
Wait a minute.
I'm like, wow, I'm an idiot. No, well, in this game, you're probably right. To be honest, you probably are.
So in that video, my friend Shout, like most players, made the argument that DPS, which is damage per second, and that's the amount of damage that your firearm can do on an opponent per second. And he made the claim that is more important than the rounds that can be fired downrange, or sorry, how many rounds can be fired downrange. And so Shout's a good player, and it surprised me when he said this. And it surprised me that he had that opinion because I assumed more players had the same view or had a similar view that the fire rate of the gun is the most important. So why am I doing this video? Well, there are some ops in the game that have more options in terms of what primaries you can pick rather than just an SMG and a shotgun, and you're pretty much forced to play that SMG as your only automatic rifle. But look at other operators such as IQ. She has 3 rifles. Jackal, who has a rifle and an SMG. Mozzie has a rifle and an SMG. Sledge, as well as the SAS operators that are on defense, have the option to run an SMG rather than the pistol. And the newest operator, Wama, has the option of running a rifle or an SMG. So there are a lot of options out there. And so what I'm going to try to do is explain to you as to why the fire rate of the gun is usually more important than the damage that the gun does. So in the clip I showed with, me and my friend Shout arguing about this, in order to make my point that the fire rate is more important than the DPS, I compared Siege to other first-person shooters. And you can look at first-person shooters like Call of Duty, Battlefield, Apex Legends, and a multitude of other first-person shooters. And the biggest thing that separates those games in terms of gunplay from Siege is that in Siege, a headshot is an instant kill. It doesn't matter which gun you use, how much damage the gun does, anything with a headshot is an instant kill. And so why is that relevant when it comes to picking certain guns? Well, when a headshot is an instant kill, you need to have a gun that puts as many rounds downrange in the shortest amount of time. The reason being that the faster you're able to put those rounds downrange, the quicker you'll be able to get the headshot and the instant kill on your enemy. Even if those shots do a significantly less amount of damage than a rifle, the odds of you getting a headshot and killing them quickly go up significantly when you choose a firearm that has a higher fire rate. And that's one of the reasons why you'll see like players like Smoke and Mute played so much in the Pro League, because they have that SMG-11, which is able to throw, I think, 1,200 rounds per minute, something like that. They're able to throw a lot of rounds downrange and has manageable recoil. And having that combination can be very deadly. Now, this doesn't mean that you need to go in and change all your loadouts and equip the fastest firing gun for an operator. You can fire a lot of rounds downrange in a short amount of time, but it's useless if you can't hit your shots. And this video isn't here to tell you that you always need to have the fastest firing gun. I'm making this video to point out that the fire rate of the gun should play a very large factor in deciding which gun you decide to run for a specific operator and your specific playstyle. And the fire rate is just as, or probably more important than the damage that the gun does. It's also important to take into consideration that different maps require different guns. And so you can look at maps like Cafe or Coastline or Consulate, and these maps are longer and have longer angles, so it's more beneficial for you to pick a gun that you can have more control over rather than picking the fastest shooting gun that that operator has. And then you can look at maps like Clubhouse, Border, or Chalet, which are shorter maps and which allow you to give up some accuracy if that means that you could throw more rounds downrange in a shorter amount of time. And so it's up to you to find the gun that allows you to put as many rounds downrange and still have control over it. If you can do that, I will guarantee you that you will win more gunfights, because the more rounds you can put downrange and have control over it, the odds are automatically in your favor. It's also important to consider that the fire rate of your gun also depends on which role you decide to play, specifically on defense. You can look at the roles of an anchor and a roamer, and the two different playstyles require two different types of guns. Now, as I've talked about throughout this video, fire rate is so important, but say you're playing an anchor. As an anchor, you need to remember that you'll be holding longer angles and that it's more important to have control over your gun. So when you play that role, it's typically more important to have control rather than just having the fastest shooting gun. And so that's why it's important to find that balance between a gun that can shoot ridiculously fast and still being able to control it. Now, if you look at the role of a roamer, it's typically more important for them to be able to shoot faster rather than having the most control over the gun. You still need to be able to have that balance, and it's more beneficial if you have that balance, but when you're roaming, you'll be able to give up some of that accuracy if that means that you'll be able to put more rounds downrange, because you'll be roaming, and typically when you're roaming, you'll catch somebody by surprise or they'll catch you by surprise, and before you know it, the gunfight's over. And so you need to have a gun that can put as many rounds into them as possible. I hope that makes sense. But what you need to take away from this video is you need to find the balance between firing as much rounds downrange as possible in a shorter amount of time and being able to control that. If you're able to control the fastest firing guns in the game, I guarantee you will see a rise in the amount of gunfights that you're winning and the number of matches that you're winning, because you can have that control. And so that about does it for this video. Hopefully you got something out of it. Hopefully, looking forward, you can take into consideration how important it is to have a fast firing gun rather than having a gun that just has a lot of damage. Because if I had to pick between a gun that shoots like 40 damage at 700 rounds per minute and a gun that does 20 damage and does 900 rounds per minute, I'm choosing the second option, because being able to put that many rounds down range will increase my odds of getting that headshot and the instant kill and winning the gunfight before it even started. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you could do me a favor and hit that little bell icon so that you'll be instantly notified whenever my videos go up. I usually post about 2 videos a week. Also, join my Discord and check out my Instagram. The links for that will be down below. And so that about does it for today. Hope you guys have a good one, and I'll see you later.